All right.
We're ready. So picture this. It's quiet in the data jungle. Individuals at your corporation are learning Tableau quickly and easily. Your team members are sharing their Tableau expertise with one another. Your organization is getting their insights daily from a suite of user-friendly dashboards.
You and your Tableau Tiger team are kings of the jungle, the sought-after magical visualization wizards, and you roar out your successes to the enterprise.
If this sounds like your dream, pay attention, as Mary and I are going to share with you our tips and tricks for spreading the love of Tableau at your organization.
What we'll do today is tell you the stories of our successes and discuss the key points that we've distilled that can help you form a plan of action at your own company. Join us as we take you on a safari exploring our insights. Get excited because you'll see lots of animals along the way, although some animals and topics may be closer and more relevant to you than others. And if you think that's a weird stretch for an analogy, just wait. I'll be stretching for those analogies like an orangutan reaching for the next tree.
I want to point out that all our stories today are true.
Although names have been changed to protect the innocent, and all of the data is completely fake.
So let me give you a little bit more information on what to expect. For the next 45 minutes, expect as many jungle puns as we can fit in, saving the last 15 for question and answer. Then we'll start by welcoming you to the jungle, explaining about who we are as well as where we work. We'll talk about turning Tableau newbies into Tableau wizards, focusing on how we've taught individuals Tableau, whether they were tiger cubs or experienced analysts. Then we'll talk about creating a forest from a few trees, talking about once you've got analysts excited, how do you create that really Tableau Tiger team, focused Tableau Tiger team. Then we'll chat about how you can become king of the jungle and influence your larger organization.
Before you leave today, we want you to take away 3 key things. 1, there is no one-size-fits-all for individuals learning Tableau. 2, Team Tableau expertise is developed through strategic successes and inspiration from team wizards. And 3, creating excitement around Tableau encourages knowledge building within your organization.
We promise it'll be more fun than a barrel of monkeys. So let's get started by telling you a little bit more about who we are before we derive how we came to those key takeaways.
We're more than just first-rate jungle punsters. Sue Frankie has worked at Progressive for 14 years in a variety of roles, including marketing, pricing, research and development, digital analytics, and supporting Tableau as part of our Analytics Center of Excellence. Currently, she manages the analytics team for our internal call center and is actively working to teach others to tell stories with Tableau, both at Progressive and in the wild. Sue has a bachelor's in accounting and a master's in statistics from the University of Toledo and enjoys wine and travel.
Marianne Fairman is a lead data analyst at Progressive Insurance. She's been an analyst for the last 14 years, worked with Tableau for the last 7, and about 3.5 years ago, we welcomed her into the Progressive family. At Progressive, she tells stories with the business of IT data and is active in our Tableau community. She has a BA and an MBA from Case Western Reserve University. She evangelizes about Tableau at the Tableau Fringe Festival with me, as well as guest lecturing at Case Western Reserve. Outside of her work in the jungle, Marion is on the board of the Dobama Theater and enjoys telling stories in the Cleveland theater community. So up next, we should probably tell you a little bit about Progressive Insurance.
Sue and I both work at Progressive, as we've mentioned, and that's actually a key point of our presentation. Besides being a Fortune 100 company with 40,000 employees, state-of-the-art technology, and endless opportunities to risk, learn, and grow, there are also 700 individuals with Tableau licenses and 10,000 people accessing Tableau dashboards.
The Progressive cultures is just one of the reasons analysts love working here. We have a focus on data and analytics to make key business decisions, which make it a great place to work. As we continue to grow, we have a continued focus on teaching analysts fresh out of college as well as experienced analysts on new tools like Tableau.
You can visit our website to learn more about how awesome Progressive is and search keyword data for all data-related careers. Before we get going, Sue, do we need to define any terms?
So I know you and I use the phrase Tiger Team all the time, but not everyone in our audience may know what that means.
And we don't mean a group of tigers, because a group of tigers is known as a streak, or somewhat disconcertingly, an ambush.
I do hope you're not going to ambush me with any tiger facts.
It's likely, Sue. What we mean by a tiger team is a group of specialists focused on particular tasks. So a Tableau Tiger team is just a team of Tableau specialists focused on Tableau.
So our first topic is turning Tableau newbies into wizards, which we should also probably define because we kind of made it up. We're not talking about the Zen Masters that Tableau has designated. Instead, these are users that create solid dashboards that convey information easily. These are people who know how to think in Tableau. They explore their data deeply and can get to answers quickly. They've organized their data to get the most information out of it. Plus, they know how to automate all their dashboards so they don't require any manual work.
And they're a go-to person that other people ask questions of. Not only that, but they work fast, like a cheetah. They're able to get to insights quickly. Their dashboards are also pretty. They need to have a great sense of design.
And most importantly, they understand that everything is possible in Tableau. You just need to figure out how to do it.
It's a pretty tall order that we're setting there, Sue. Giraffe-sized, one might say. It sounds super doable for people, right?
I mean, it's a challenge, but it's not impossible. So Marion, I know for the past few summers, you've been working with some of our analytics interns. They usually come in super excited, but with no experience in Tableau. Can you walk us through how you've gotten them up and running?
Progressive has a great summer internship program where each summer interns join us for 10 weeks. We give the interns a lot of training in the first couple of weeks. For Tableau, we direct them to the online e-learning that Progressive licenses. I also do Makeover Mondays with the interns.
I've done some Makeover Mondays on my own. How do you do them with a group of interns?
Now, I know most Tableau people will be familiar with Makeover Mondays, but if not, each week a couple Zen Masters publish a data set, and then people all over the world create visualizations based on that data. Our Makeover Monday sessions are similar, except at the end of the day, we'd get together and share with each other what we'd created. It's important to know what's possible in Tableau in order to be able to create a good dashboard, so having the interns learn from more senior analysts about design was really critical. And it always helps to see how other people deal with the same data problem. Since I hadn't structured growth like this for interns before, I was surprised to see how much they could grow in that short time period. My intern, Julie, had limited experience with Excel and no experience with Tableau. In just 6 weeks, she went from being able to create this basic starter dashboard, throwing some information into Tableau's basic charts, to being able to create a good dashboard based on solid design principles with some interesting analytics. You can see in that second dashboard, she's created 3 scatter plots, created some clusters to designate some data, and having a filter deal with all of it. Her learning was nearly completely based on the Tableau e-learning, some Makeover Monday opportunities, and learn by doing opportunities.
So as you reflect on this, why do you think this worked so well for Julie?
I think the learning style worked for her because she was still in school. So she was used to incorporating different teaching styles without falling asleep.
People fall asleep in Tableau training?
Never. And as an intern, she had sufficient time to spend on training. I know that a lot of senior analysts have more difficulty finding that time. Sue, I know you've also had some good experiences working with newer analysts and Tableau Tiger Cubs. Can you talk about that story?
Sure. While I was working in our Analytics Center of Excellence, one of my goals was to increase the Tableau usage across the company. The way I did this was by creating an Introduction to Tableau course. At this time, there were a group of rotational analysts that were working with me in the Center of Excellence. So the rotational analyst program at Progressive is when you come in and for your first 2 years, you spend time in different 6-month rotations across the company. You get to learn a variety of different things. And if you worked with me, you definitely got excellent background in Tableau. The way I did this was I had these analysts help me build out the training, creating the step-by-step process that we would go through. In addition, They definitely helped me out while we were teaching the class. They were wandering around the class, so if, or really when, someone got stuck, they could be right there to help them out.
Like rounding up a lone wildebeest that got left behind.
Exactly like that, Marion. It was important to keep the herd together because the exercises would build one on top of the other. So if anyone got lost, they were really lost for the entire class. Because of this, these new analysts got to be seen as experts in a tool that was new to many of our senior analysts. This really gained them some confidence. They all went on to continue teaching Tableau in their next rotations. They definitely have received promotions, and now most are seen as leaders in our Tableau community.
Now that would work as a Tiger team technique if people are training people on Tableau. But what if they're not? I know that I find that people have difficulty finding the time to dedicate to training, so they keep getting stuck in their learning process.
So I know you've suggested often for people to use the online training, but I found sometimes a more senior analyst doesn't quite have as much time as a typical intern to just sit down and to go through the online training. So while you love the online training just as much as a hippopotamus loves water, it doesn't work for everyone.
And that's probably why me telling people to just take the online training and it hasn't worked. There's a need for a little bit more direct support, like tigers do with their cubs. Tigers are born blind, and their mothers support them completely for the first 2 years of their life.
So I'm not going to recommend supporting any analyst for the first 2 years of their Tableau experience. However, with more senior analysts, I do recommend doing something I call a sit with. That's when I'm actually sitting down with an analyst for their first Tableau project. I can actually focus their training. So if their data is in Excel, we can put Excel into Tableau. If their data is in SQL, how do I connect to that SQL database? I do have to make sure that I do no HOK. I keep my hands off the keyboard while they're building their first dashboard.
Yeah, but isn't that information that they could just learn from a training video? Right? Not everybody learns great from those.
I know you learned all these great facts from those Animal Planet videos you've been watching.
Really, mostly Netflix documentaries.
However, I found for a typical senior analyst, a little bit more learning by doing seems to work better. This can also be done by giving someone a dashboard to maintain so they can make small tweaks, or finding a really cool dashboard on Tableau online and having someone hook up our data to it.
There's a variety of different classroom training techniques that have also worked for senior analysts. I know you've sent people off-site to training, and that's worked well for them because it allows your senior analysts to focus on the training at hand instead of getting distracted by work. There's also some groups at Progressive that have brought trainers in to train particular teams, and that's worked well. It's also really important, though, to have peer experts. When I was first learning Tableau 7 years ago, I worked with someone who made beautiful dashboards, and it let me know so much more of what was possible with my own data. Although I was spoiled with my peer expert, it was Mark Bradbourne, and he was a Sue Visor on stage at Iron Viz the other night.
I know the analysts I've worked with, I have a tendency to encourage them to do everything in Tableau. So yes, you can do that chart, do it super quickly in Excel, but why don't you try it in Tableau? Because what I found is the next time you build that Tableau dashboard, it goes 3 times as fast.
So you can teach an old lion new tricks?
So I'm not saying any of these lions are exactly old, but you can teach an experienced analyst to think in Tableau.
So I found that when an analyst is resistant to using Tableau, it's one of 3 things. 1, the old way works, so why fix it? 2, they're not as familiar with Tableau as they are with some other tools. And 3, they haven't learned how to think in Tableau, but they do know how to think in Excel.
So one of the other things that I found, sometimes the big hurdle to learning Tableau is really understanding how to get your data in the right format for Tableau. So this can mean you need to learn some advanced SQL or even another tool like Alteryx. This can make your first dashboard an even bigger tree to climb up, but once you get there, the view from the top is amazing. Let me turn this over to a colleague of mine so you can hear his story.
Hi, my name is Matt, and I'm a long-term planning analyst here at Progressive. My first experience with Tableau was a rough one to start. We had some old reporting, some fraud reporting that was done very manually, and it was not formatted correctly. We had data coming from all kinds of different sources, and it made everything rough. It made it, a week-long process, and it just wasn't what I wanted to do. I saw Tableau once, and I was like, oh, maybe we can use this. So I contacted our Center of Excellence, and there was Sue. And I met with Sue multiple times to start working on working with Tableau. So the first time we sat down, we had all the historical data was already there, formatted correctly for us. So we started getting that in the Tableau. That wasn't the rough part. Getting stuff that's formatted correctly in the Tableau is very easy. And we got a couple dashboards built, and it was coming along. But then we ran into issues with getting the new data in there. And so when we went to refresh things, we needed the new data, and that again came from multiple different sources that were not formatted correctly, and you couldn't just throw them in the Tableau. You needed to do something before it. That's when we started looking for a new tool to get all the data combined and formatted correctly, and that's when we came across Alteryx. Alteryx makes it very easy to combine the data and format it correctly and sort everything and make sure it's all in line so you can use it in Tableau. The end result was awesome. The dashboard looked beautiful. There was lots of filters for pretty much whatever cut you wanted, and if you're in a different state, you might be looking for something different, that option was available for you. After that, I received very few emails about it. Going back to the beginning, I would receive 5-6 emails every time the reporting came out. And it was from different areas wanting different things. With Tableau, we were able to incorporate all of that into one view, and the emails were next to nothing. So when I started with Tableau and with Alteryx, I had no experience, nothing, never used either one of them before. By the time I was done with this project, it was night and day. I was probably a little better than intermediate with both of them, and it was awesome. It actually led to me getting a new position at Progressive in long-term planning, basically all because of my Tableau and Alteryx skills.
I like that you influenced an analyst who wasn't a direct report. I know that you have direct reports, but I don't currently. So a lot of my influencing comes from what I like to call the side poke.
There's something that just sounds wrong about that.
I mean, peer-to-peer influencing definitely sounds better, but it's just not as descriptive. I use the side poke style of influencing when someone is open to change, but they need a little extra encouragement. It's basically like I'm poking them in the side saying, hey, look at this cool thing in Tableau, or Tableau can do that, or why don't you try Tableau?
Since we work for a respectable company, how about we call it something else?
Let's call it the grass is greener over here. So I've been working with one analyst very closely for around 3.5 years. When I met Dan, he was very technically strong in SQL and Excel, but he was still a beginner at Tableau. Tableau was still kind of locked down at that time at Progressive, however. There were very few dashboards around the company, and it was difficult to get a license.
I remember that time. It was like a dark time. A dark, dark time. Like the jungle on a night with no moon.
Well, you helped change the culture in our Analytics Center of Excellence, and then it became much easier to get a Tableau license. Around that time, we also brought in Tableau Server, which made it much easier to share dashboards across the company. The work on my team changed as well. We started being asked for more enterprise-wide analytics instead of ad hoc analytics. All of those things kept driving Dan to using Tableau.
But you still had to learn it, right?
Oh, right. Dad went to webinars and a variety of the e-learning, and he took training, but he also took over support on some existing dashboards. Now, we've discussed how Learn by Doing really works for people, and this dashboard was one that always needed a new chart, a new filter, some tweaks, or someone looking to understand the data. Now Dan thinks in Tableau, and he is a visualization wizard, but it all came out of that organic process. And if one piece of that was missing, he might not be at that wizard level today.
That's a great story about all the things that led to Dan to becoming that Tableau wizard. But I'm certain he was really self-motivated.
Well, Dan definitely loves learning new things, and it takes a lot of drive and perseverance to push through the long middle. Now, the long middle is what I consider the most difficult time in learning Tableau. It is easy to learn Tableau at the beginning, and fun to learn. And then once you're able to do some basic charts, you enter the long middle. You can do those basic charts, but the more complicated ones are still really difficult and people get frustrated.
I know lots of people that have been stuck in the long middle. It's like when you're stuck in the dark jungle, every way you turn, it's a different direction, but it all looks the same. I was stuck there for a while myself.
Sue, how did you get out of the long middle?
So my manager at the time knew I loved a competition and totally took advantage of this. He realized that a Sankey would be a good use of one of our dashboards, and so he challenged me to build it. He wanted to see if I could figure it out before he could. This led me to start reading a bunch of Tableau Zen Master blogs, and then I started following them on Twitter, and one thing led to another. I grabbed a metaphorical machete and hacked my way out. I mean, really, the light bulb went off when I realized all those complicated charts in Tableau are basically hacks.
Oh, I'm definitely a Tableau hack. Getting out of the long middle is knowing that you can hack your way through anything.
I did invest some time in training, but that training could vary. It was either reading a blog or watching a webinar. It also really helped me that my manager was pushing me. I felt like I got some kind of unspoken permission to do Tableau training at work.
There's other things you can do as well to get out of the long middle. You can force yourself to do your next big project in Tableau. It's definitely trial by fire, but you'll learn a lot that way. However, what Sue and I really recommend is that you do a combination of training and learn by doing to get out of the long middle. You'll be able to directly apply your learning and also be able to see what happens.
So far, we've talked about a variety of techniques for getting individuals up to speed on Tableau. Marion shared with us a story about getting interns up to speed using progressive e-learning as well as Makeover Mondays.
Sue discussed training new analysts by having them teach others, and then we discussed a variety of different learning techniques for senior analysts, from off-site training to sit-with to needing to learn more than one tool.
So we wrapped it up talking about learning by doing as well as how to get out of the long middle. That all led us to our key takeaway.
There is no one-size-fits-all for individuals learning Tableau. A tiger's stripes are as distinctly different as human fingerprints. So why should we expect all analysts to learn the same way? Figure out what works for you or the analysts that you're working with and do that.
And be sure to include some non-Tableau training, like some advanced SQL or even another tool like Alteryx. Learning Tableau isn't all about making those complicated charts.
Most of the charts I make are not complicated. It's about conveying information effectively with design.
Exactly. I can build Sankeys upon Sankeys, but if the person using the Sankey doesn't understand the Sankey, what's the point?
If a Sankey falls in the forest and there's no one to hear it, was there ever a Sankey?
Or something like that. Speaking of forests, our next section is how did we create a forest from a few trees? So now we've trained a few individuals on Tableau, but how do you get everyone excited? How do you build out that really Tableau-focused team? Getting them all to catch the Tableau fever.
Sue, I know that you've had a lot of success working with the Tableau Tiger team. How did you get support to build out that team?
I was able to build out my team by having some strategic successes, quick wins, and lucky timing. I call that hunting easy prey.
Did you know that a tiger hunt is only successful around 1 in 10 or 20 attempts?
That's why you have to start out hunting the easy prey, Marion. If you go after the rhinoceros on your first attempt, you may end up licking your chops instead of enjoying the great rhino feast. So let me give you an example. So my team supports our internal sales team for commercial auto at Progressive. So what that means is we're doing analytics for a bunch of flows that are answering our customer service needs for the internal call center. So they have a need to track and understand how all those calls are converting into sales. So this was the report that we started with. It was created before my arrival.
That's got more colors than a toucan.
So this chart has a lot of different metrics on it, and you're absolutely right. Lots of different colors. There's one for each specialist, kind of denoting whether or not they're above or below the average. This gave them the information on a single page. However, it was really confusing and challenging to understand. We piloted it, but the supervisors weren't having it, so we didn't end up actually rolling it out. So when I came on board, I asked an analyst who was new to Tableau, but knew the sales data really well, to build out a KPI dashboard. So you can see in this clean look, We gave the supervisors a one-stop shop. They could focus on a single specialist and yet see how they were doing. So the bars tell you how that specialist is doing, and the line is kind of, hey, are they above or below the average? They could also see how that specialist was trending over time with the little graphs below. This led them to get some really great information out of the report. We had no trouble rolling it out with just a handful of meetings.
That dashboard definitely looks great. You can understand the KPIs and really get a lot of information from that. But how did you get an analyst new to Tableau to create such a great looking dashboard?
I did two key things. This was a senior analyst. I actually sent him off-site for training so he could actually really focus and not get asked a billion questions while he was sitting at his desk trying to figure this out. I also sat him next to a Tableau technical resource who was able to help him out whenever he ran into some little hurdles so he didn't throw his computer across the room. More about that later. So after having a wins like this and many additional wins, this increased the appetite for this type of analytics over in my group. It's important to note, at the time, commercial auto was having phenomenal growth. The number of supervisors and specialists that my team supported had nearly doubled. This meant that the average supervisor tenure was going down, so getting easy to use dashboards was even more important. So my business leader came up and said, hey, how can we get more of these dashboards? People seem to really like them. So I put a pitch together with my manager on how we could create more dashboards while still maintaining a lot of the other analytics needs. The end result was the doubling of my team. We went from 5 analysts to 10 in about a year's time.
It's a great story, Sue. You were hunting like a tiger. You sneak up on your prey and then wow, you explode into action with an amazing dashboard. You killed it, Sue. It goes to show how if you build support through quick wins and you have people craving information, you get to build out that Tableau Tiger team. How did you build out that team, though? I know that there are a lot of analysts with Tableau experience at Progressive, but the skill levels really vary.
So I didn't hire necessarily for the Tableau skill set. I was looking for analysts that really wanted to grow and learn, those with the growth mindset. As any great Tiger team leader knows, you can always train your Tiger cubs to grow into tigers.
That brings us on our safari to the Tableau waterhole. You brought a bunch of analysts to the Tableau waterhole, but how did you get them to drink?
I mean, I spiked that waterhole with a little special Tableau Kool-Aid, and that was it. I mean, I asked every analyst to create a dashboard. What more did I need to do?
How'd you do it though, Sue?
I'm an amazing leader, Marianne. Why can't you just take that for granted?
Since you're not giving me that information, I decided to go investigate and find out. Today I'm here at Progressive Insurance in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio, trying to meet up with some of Sue's team and determine the secret to her success. Hey, you're on Sue's team, right?
Yes, I'm an associate manager on Sue's team.
What makes the team so successful at Tableau?
Well, when Sue joined the team 2 years ago, I had never used Tableau before, and I knew that she was a big user. So I knew I had to step my game up. And she hired this really amazing analyst, and he's practically a magical Tableau wizard.
A magical Tableau wizard? Who is this analyst?
Sorry.
Wait, a magical Tableau wizard? Hey, Joe, you're on Sue's team. What makes the team so successful?
Sorry, I'm on my way to lunch right now.
My questions need answers, Joe, and they can't wait.
All right, so I was assigned the task of building a dashboard that would allow our sales supervisors to understand how often our usage-based insurance was being offered. Now, I had only ever maintained a dashboard. I had never built one myself. And luckily, Sue hired an analyst that was really good at Tableau. So with his help and with a dashboard that he had already made, I was able to create one all by myself.
Who is this analyst that helped you?
Sorry, I gotta go.
Who is this analyst that's helping everyone? Wait, Mark, you're on Sue's team, right?
Yes, I am.
What makes Sue's team so successful at Tableau?
Well, before I was on her team, I used to be a heavy SAS user. And then when I met Sue, she showed me all these cool visuals in Tableau, and I was kind of blown away. So she sent me to training, and I picked up a good amount, but it was still a little difficult to navigate. But luckily, in my team, I sit next to this whiz kid who actually said he lives for Tableau. I couldn't believe it, but he actually does, and I love the tool. I use it daily now.
Who is this magical Tableau wizard?
Oh, that's me.
Did you teach all these people how to use Tableau?
I sure did.
How did you do that? And how did you learn it yourself?
Well, I learned Tableau myself through a lot of practice and doing the Makeover Mondays as well as the Workout Wednesdays. And every Sunday, I sequester myself away at Starbucks for about 2 hours, re-uploading the same dashboard about 35 times before I get the font choice just right. And then I apply that same degree of scrutiny to my coworkers until they capitulate and just let me tell them what to do in Tableau.
Do you enjoy helping all these people?
Of course I do. Helping them helps me learn a lot more about the tool.
Finally, are you a magical Tableau wizard?
Of course not. I just really love Tableau, and like I said before, helping others helps me learn as well.
Marion Fairman reporting from Progressive Insurance, having learned a secret to Sue's team's success. This guy. Now, back to the conference.
So as you can see from that entertaining video, the secret to my success was that I ended up hiring a wizard, an analyst that loves Tableau even more than I do. So instead of me convincing everyone on my team to love Tableau, I got to delegate a lot of that work. So when this wizard came to my team, it was clear he was coming in with some Tableau knowledge, but his attitude towards helping people has really expanded his knowledge and increased the efficiency on my team.
Sue, you brought up a lot of interesting stories about your current team.
Oh, but I haven't told you the best one yet. This Halloween, my team dressed up like a Tableau workbook. It was awesome. But more importantly, as you can see, I am clearly a Tableau legend.
I love to see how you got your team on board. But do you think a reporting structure is important in order to do that? You've clearly pushed Tableau adoption with your team, or is it all monkey see, monkey do?
So I don't know that it's necessary, but my manager definitely pushed me towards learning Tableau, and I've definitely continued the same thing with my team. I've seen a few other teams make great progress when a team technical leader is actually doing what you call the side poke approach. It's really important to have someone in leadership kind of pushing for Tableau. Jungle groups tend to have an alpha, but modern groups tend to have a variety of different kinds of leaders. I'm not sure more dashboards would get built if we all beat our chests like gorillas.
Yeah, animal hierarchies are really based on physical dominance, and you won't even let me talk about poking people.
No one likes to be poked, Marion. However, I built out my tiger team by having some strategic successes, not having alpha dominance. I was lucky to be in an environment that was growing and really needed that Tableau skill set. At Progressive, there's definitely a push towards adopting Tableau, but that push isn't as strong in all groups.
Even if you do have a manager pushing adoption, it's very important to have a tech lead on the team. You want someone who's able to lead visualization reviews and to make sure that all of your visits have a certain level of quality. However, your tech lead is out there building fabulous dashboards, so you have to make sure that they are empowered to do both jobs. Now, all of the topics that we discussed for individuals will also work on teams, but there were specific things that we brought up that help you get those teams to function better. We discussed how it's important to get some quick wins in order to build that support, and how having a team wizard on your team can multiply the knowledge on your team far faster than anything else.
We also talked about how important it is to have someone in the team leadership advocating for Tableau. That person can be your team technical lead or even your wizard. That all leads us to our key takeaway. Team Tableau expertise is developed through strategic successes and inspiration from team wizards.
So far, we have discussed a lot of different techniques for training and breaking through resistance at your companies. But we know a lot of you are still armies of one at your own company, when what you want, of course, is to become king of the jungle.
So Progressive used to have a Tableau army of one.
I mean, tigers are mostly solitary creatures, except when they're raising cubs.
So our first Tableau user was named Paul. And it was just Paul for a long time, until Paul could show the business value and then slowly build out the Tableau adoption. So Paul's journey has definitely continued, and he's still building out the Tableau adoption today, as he's now our business leader of data and analytics. This is an executive that's so in love with Tableau, he does his own analysis, will text me questions on a Friday night at 9 o'clock at night, super fun, and he talks about it. So every time he goes into a meeting, we get 10 new requests for the software.
If that's not roaring to the jungle, I don't know what is. But even if you roar out your success stories, frequently you have to show, not just tell. Around 2 years ago, I was transitioning to a new group within Progressive, and this team was responsible for building out the IT KPI dashboard. Because of my Tableau experience, I was given the responsibility for developing this dashboard. Now, it took a lot of other people and a lot of time to finalize the design, but what we ended up with was a dashboard that exceeded expectations. And it kind of made my name at Progressive. But the best thing was it actually got our CIO to become a Tableau user. I love that our CIO digs into the data to find the information that he needs, and I know he's doing it because I'm monitoring the usage of the dashboards that I support.
So why do you think our CIO now loves Tableau?
As far as I can tell, he likes being able to answer his own questions. He doesn't have to wait on anybody else to get the information that he needs.
So he sounds really on board with the self-service culture, which I know is critical. So do you think his support has definitely increased our purchase of more Tableau licenses?
Well, we're a big company, so you and I obviously aren't in the room when things like that are being discussed. But I know that I'm asked for some use cases whenever we're about to make another big license purchase. So yeah, I think I can take credit for that.
Did you just take credit for expanding Tableau at Progressive Insurance?
Yes, I did, Sue.
You know we're a 40,000 person company with over 80 years of history.
Yes.
And you've been here 3.5 years?
When you've got it, Sue.
Well, you've got something. But what is clear is there is executive support for new tools at Progressive.
There's been both a top-down and bottoms-up increasing appetite for dashboards at Progressive. We do have 700 users at all different stages of learning. You can see the growth on this chart here. And there's a huge demand for training and support. Lots of tiger cubs hungry for learning.
We were also working on ways to help those tiger cubs grow into tigers. We started a Tableau advisory board to help kind of push this along. This is a group of about 20 Tableau evangelists across the company. They meet about once a month to discuss upcoming changes to Tableau, as well as any ideas to spread the love of Tableau across the company.
Being on the board has helped me talk to my peers about new releases for Tableau and any changes that could be coming, and it also helps me take the concerns of my peers back to the people that are supporting Tableau in case we're rolling out something that may have issues with Tableau like Office 365 or SharePoint Online.
It's also really helped us build out the Tableau community. So I recently had to step off the board and hand the torch down to a coworker, and that was really sad. We got great work done in meetings, but we also built really good connections across the company.
This year, our advisory board came up with some amazing new ideas for roaring to the jungle. And we partnered with our analyst professional group. Now that's a voluntary organization at Progressive that anyone interested in data and analytics can join to put on some of these great events this year.
So before we talk about any of these events, we probably need to talk to the person who's in charge of coordinating all these events. You and I, we're merely foot soldiers.
I mean colonels. We're more like colonels, maybe generals.
So our Tableau server support specialist supports over 700 desktop users. He's not the kind of guy that likes to be center stage.
Like us.
However, we ambushed him in an interview so he can talk about all the things he does to roar out to the jungle.
My name is Gadi Simcone, and I support Tableau at Progressive. So what that means to me is a lot of things. I do support for the Tableau Professional desktop tool. I'm the administrator for Tableau Server. I also help get user engagement and education rolling for our big community, and also do support answering all different types of questions, anywhere from calculations and things inside the tool to errors and issues that I deal with as well. So getting new users up to speed, we do a couple things. So one thing I do is I like to talk to the new users and find out what they're looking to do, make sure I understand that Tableau really is the best tool for them, which it usually is. But then I'd like to send them an email with information about how to get started with Tableau, including links to some hands-on tutorials. And we also use Tableau e-learning here, which is a great resource. Make sure that they understand how to use it and where to go to get some information, as well as we have a Tableau SharePoint site with a whole host of resources that they can use. So keeping current users engaged and up to speed, it's a little more difficult than just onboarding a new person. But we have a wide variety of things that we do for that as well. I send out weekly tips and tricks called Tableau Tip Tuesday emails. And it's a wide variety of things that either I find online that I think would be beneficial, to questions that I field a lot from users, and also try to get the community involved to send some tips that I share with over 700 people a week. So it's a pretty good size audience there. I also do things like Tableau Day. So we organized that last year, was big success. Had about 150 people attend. And we also do things like webinar watch parties and a wide variety of other things that I think Sue and Marion are going to talk about as well. So what are we doing next? Really focusing on user engagement and collaboration. And to do that, we're going to incorporate a new tool to us from Microsoft called Yammer. And Yammer is an enterprise social media tool. So it allows for easy collaboration between people, will allow for our users to help each other get answers to questions, whereas we only have a few people that support well over 700 users. Not the easiest thing to do, so we really need to crowdsource that support. And Yammer is going to be the way we're going to do it.
So Gotti just talked about a bunch of new initiatives that he does to help people roar out to the jungle. That's not all he does. Instead, we've been creating lots of opportunities for progressive tigers to roar out their successes. One of those opportunities was by creating bite-sized learning environments that we called In the Know with Tableau. These sessions had about 100 to 150 attendees. They were hosted by progressive tigers so they could rear some tiger cubs of their own.
I hosted one of these sessions on storytelling with data. Not only did hosting the session give me an opportunity to practice my speaking skills, but it also helped people across the company be able to reach out to me with issues that they're having with Tableau. So it builds community pride while lessening the training burden on that analytics center of excellence and helps get those tiger cubs into tigers.
Additionally, we were creating some contests for people to kind of participate in and get them excited, one of which we called Chart of the Month. So once a month, every analyst could submit their favorite data visualization in any BI tool, and a small committee picks the winner. It's very exciting. Most of the winners have been in Tableau, but there was one amazing Excel chart winner.
I won Chart of the Month with this pretty little donut chart on our data center. Now I know a donut chart is not always the right way to go, but the users for this particular chart wanted something that would integrate well with their dashboard or their website, and a bullet chart just wasn't working for the purpose. After winning Chart of the Month, I got supportive emails from a variety of people across the company, but I also got to find out that my chart had been discussed in a meeting with the executives just a couple weeks before. Frequently, when you build a dashboard, you send it out into the world and you never find out what happens to it. So it was great to hear that the executives were getting insights from the charts that I had built. But of course, it's not about that.
For you, it was all about that cold hard cash, wasn't it?
That's right. The winner gets $50, which is a great way to go. This year, we also came up with what might be my favorite idea for Roaring to the Jungle, a visualization contest called the Progressive Invitational. We used a data set that was a readily available data. It was our employee data dimension, which has 2 million rows and 20 years of data. People across the company built visualizations based on that data set. We chose the top 3, and then the candidates presented on their visualizations with an in-person competition with progressive celebrity judges. Now, I'm not saying that we ripped off Iron Viz, but
you totally ripped off Tableau's Iron Viz.
I mean, I may have watched Iron Viz while writing the script. My jokes were definitely equally cheesy.
At least they weren't about tigers. However, I did like that we got a variety of different takes on the same data set.
The judges definitely had a hard time deciding on the winner. And importantly for this competition as well, like in Chart of the Month, there was a monetary reward. $500 for the first place winners, $300 for the second place, and $200 for the third place.
Even more importantly, we had some amazing preliminary judges.
You just say that because you were part of the initial judging committee. At the actual event, we had great judges. Our judging panel consisted of our CIO, who we have discussed loving dashboards, our business leader of data and analytics, aka Tableau user number 1, our business leader of claims data and analytics, who works with a large BI department, and our business leader of 96 Octane, otherwise known as the man who has brought you those Baker Mayfield ads. Audience attendance at the event was great, and our CFO even came to watch, which tells you how important analytics are at Progressive.
So this is the winning biz. Oh, the places that you'll go at Progressive. It really has a strong design and an interesting concept.
Because these dashboards were based on employee data, we're actually meeting with HR in a couple weeks so that they can see what was created as part of this competition. So you never know, some of these contest winners may have a longer life than just being a contest.
So we've discussed a variety of ways that we've spread the love of Tableau at Progressive Insurance. Getting executive buy-in is definitely key. If you can get key business leaders getting their information from dashboards, it'll spur their creation.
Gadi discussed a variety of the different techniques that he does for onboarding and knowledge building within the organization, and how we talked about how creating ways for individuals to share their knowledge can really increase knowledge across your organization and make your enterprise stronger.
We've also found that creating events and contests can make Tableau fun as well as educational, which increases its adoption. That all led us to our key takeaway. Creating excitement around Tableau encourages knowledge building within your organization.
I mean, we've certainly worked hard to build a lot of excitement at Progressive.
So what's next for us, Marion?
Maybe a safari?
Where you've totally been mixing information from both Africa and Asia.
Yeah, good thing I'm not a purist. I don't know, Sue, maybe a book? There's always more people that need to learn Tableau, and data is only proliferating. Who knows what the future brings?
More Python, perhaps?
I mean, think of the rainforest-themed presentations in our future.
I'll be on the lookout for something in anaconda yellow.
But for now, don't forget our key takeaways.
There's no one-size-fits-all to individuals learning Tableau.
Team Tableau expertise is developed through strategic successes and inspiration from team wizards.
Creating excitement around Tableau encourages knowledge building across your organization. So before we go, do we have time for one more jungle joke?
I mean, we always have time for one more jungle joke.
So why don't you do arithmetic in the jungle?
I don't know, Sue, why don't you do arithmetic in the jungle?
Because if you add 4 plus 4, you get 8!
Ugh, we hope that there were enough jungle puns for your entertainment. And we hope that you enjoyed yourselves.
And if you did, please rate us on the Tableau mobile app.
Thank you for being here on Friday during lunch at the last day of the conference.
More importantly, we couldn't have done this without a lot of help from a lot of people at Progressive. So thank you, everyone.
Any questions?